Since time immemorial, humanity has sought an answer to the duality of good and evil. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, Satan is the fallen angel, the adversary of God, the symbol of evil and temptation. This being, once an angel of light known as Lucifer, rebelled against his creator and has since been a constant in the history of humanity, tempting and diverting it from its divine purpose. But if God is truly omnipotent, why doesn't he get rid of Satan once and for all? This question leads believers and scholars to explore profound aspects of divine nature, free will, and God's plan of redemption. The answer is not simple, and many theologians argue that the existence of Satan in God's plan is much more than a mere antagonism between good and evil. In his rebellion, Satan represents the extreme exercise of free will, the freedom that God grants to all his creatures, both angels and humans, is not a half-hearted freedom. It is a true freedom, even when that freedom is used to rebel against him. In the biblical tradition, we find that God allows Satan to act to a certain extent. In the book of Job, for example, God gives Satan permission to test Job, his faithful servant, allowing him to experience a series of devastating tragedies. The story is shocking because God does not destroy Satan nor completely limit him. Instead, he allows him to act within certain boundaries, knowing that Job will pass the test. This shows that in some way, God uses Satan as an instrument to test the faith and loyalty of his followers. This narrative also leads us to a reflection on the value of faith and devotion to God. If God were to eliminate Satan, and with it all the evil in the universe, humanity's love for God might lose its meaning. In a reality without temptation or evil, loyalty would be automatic, a simple consequence of having no choice. Genuine faith, on the other hand, flourishes amidst trials and difficulties. Thus, the existence of Satan and the option of evil are, in a sense, an opportunity for human beings and angels to choose God freely, not out of obligation or lack of alternatives. Another important dimension of this question arises when considering the role of Satan in the history of salvation and the final judgment. In the Apocalypse, the last book of the Bible, it is revealed that Satan and his followers will ultimately be defeated and cast into the lake of fire. In other words, evil will be defeated, but at the time determined by God. This outcome shows us that God has a perfect plan and an established time for all things. Instead of eliminating Satan immediately, allow his presence to act as part of the development of the redemption plan. The Bible reminds us that God's ways are mysterious and that his thoughts and purposes are beyond our understanding. There is, moreover, a moral dimension in this narrative. The existence of Satan and evil in the world tests the integrity of every person. Without Satan, the concept of goodness and justice might lack depth. Human beings face temptations, moral conflicts, and challenges that, when overcome, strengthen their character and their relationship with God. The struggle against evil and temptation is a way to grow spiritually, to learn to depend on God's grace and power. Some theologians also argue that Satan serves as a reminder of the consequences of disobedience and pride. In the Bible, the fall of Lucifer is a warning for those who allow pride and rebellion against God to control their lives. The story of Satan, therefore, is not just a warning for humans, but also a reminder of the respect we must have for divine authority. God, in his infinite wisdom, even uses evil to fulfill his purposes, transforming darkness into a stage where light can shine more brightly. The presence of Satan also illustrates God's patience and mercy. By not destroying Satan immediately, God shows his willingness to allow free will and his patience in allowing human beings to grow and develop a true relationship with him, despite negative influences. The battle between good and evil in our lives teaches us to trust in God's justice and mercy, knowing that ultimately good will prevail. In conclusion, the fact that God does not destroy Satan should not be interpreted as a lack of power. Rather, it is a manifestation of his perfect plan and his respect for free will. The existence of Satan and evil in the world allows human beings to choose God authentically, overcome trials, and understand the profound meaning of fidelity and devotion. Although evil is present today, God's promise is that in due time, all evil will be eliminated and his plan of redemption will be complete. Until then, humanity lives in a world where it must choose between light and darkness, between the love of God and the seduction of evil.